Question. So the author, this lady, Hamina Ibarra, she has a book called Working Identities, and it really talks about all of this, career transitions and what. But in that example, in that book, she gives several examples and case studies of people in different professions. So doctors, maybe it's for the traditional, what we call the traditional professions, it's a bit more difficult to come to the realization that you're stuck, and to say you want to do something different, because come on, you've gone through, I don't know, 20 years of training and school and certifications, and then to say you want to jettison that to become a rapper, as an example. So it's more difficult, but it does and it can happen. I think the difference between the people for whom it seems to happen to a lot more naturally and the people for whom it doesn't, it's not so much the profession, it's the ability to assess and evaluate where you are. So for many of us, we flow with the tide, right? Especially when things are going good. If I'm a doctor, I'm earning, you know, a good pay, and I'm well respected and whatnot, you can think that, well, what's the incentive for me to change? So I tend to bury those aspects of myself that are not as happy with what I'm doing, or that are thinking, maybe I could be doing something else, you know, or maybe I could be, you know, doing something that's not medicine. So it's a lot more difficult. But if you listen to yourself, right, it's like you're eating, you're hungry, and then you eat, but when you're hungry, you stuff your face, pardon my French, you stuff your face with food, and you don't pay attention to your body, and by the time you're done with the food, you're like, oh my God, you know, I've overdone it, because by the time you realize, or you stop doing what you're doing, you've gone past the point of fullness. And so for me, I think the main difference is not so much the profession, but it's really the ability to stop and think, especially when things are going well. It's easy to be stuck when, you know, you hate your job, you hate your boss, you hate, you know, your co-workers, you hate everything. It's easy to be stuck then. But it's a lot more difficult to then say, am I really doing what I'm doing if everything is going well? So, but I think it's something, and you know, assessing and evaluating doesn't mean you go off and do something else. Even as a doctor, so I could be a pediatrician and then decide maybe there's a way that I can use my skills differently, right? Can I set up a telemedicine practice where people in remote centers who can't get to a hospital or who can't come to my clinic, is there a way that I can help them as well? So it's a different way of thinking about the same thing that you're doing. And maybe that takes you then to not practicing in a hospital, but taking a role with the Gates Foundation or whatever, or starting your own practice, you know, focus on telemedicine. The examples I'm trying to give is just to show that even in those traditional or set professions, there's still a lot of room for change and for improvement. But the key thing is to constantly assess, where am I, what am I doing, and how am I doing?